All right, so I want to welcome you to the Eating Smart Being Active series. My name is Tina Snyder, and I'm a nutrition educator from the FNAP program through Cornell Cooperative Extension. FNAP stands for the Expanded Food Nutrition Education Program. We work with people who want to plan and prepare healthy, low-cost meals for their families and themselves. Eating Smart Being Active is one of our series of sessions that we use, and it contains information that is based on the most current research. And as you know, today, we are using the Zoom platform. And if you haven't been on Zoom before, there's some features to Zoom that is very helpful. As we go through our series, we'll be using the chat box sometimes. We'll be turning on and off our audios and visuals. We do hope that you can participate where you feel comfortable, and you can turn on or off your screen. And so when you're looking at the actual Zoom, this just points out some of those features. So way up at the top here, you can exit the full screen, or you can choose the gallery, and then you can see us all in the squares, or they'll be all to the side, of course, when we're sharing our screens. If you're using a phone, you can swipe to the left or right and see everybody that's in the class, so that you can kind of get to know each other and what you look like. Way down here is your audio, or if you go in where your participant name is, you can also turn on and off your video and your audio, or you can stop and start it down here in the left-hand side. There's also a chat box that you can click on, and if you want to ask a question or you have a comment to make, sometimes we'll be using chat. If I ask a question and not everyone's comfortable, you can always put your response in the chat box rather than saying it out loud. There's little reactions over here where you can give a thumbs up, or you can, like clap your hands. So those are the features that we have on Zoom. And then as we're working through our sessions together, we work under our voice by choice principles. So the V stands for voice by choice, and so we'll never call on anybody or ask you to speak in front of the whole group unless you make that choice. We do ask you to sometimes be part of some small groups, which we'll use some breakout rooms. That's another one of the little features of Zoom, but we will give you directions when we do that. The O stands for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I ask a question, I will wait a few seconds for people to think about what I asked, and then speak when you want to, or put it in the chat. Inclusion, the I stands for, and we'll strive to make sure that everyone feels comfortable and included, knows what's happening at any given moment, and has ample opportunity to be valued and to speak. C, we will be considerate and start on time and end on time, and come back from breaks if we have breaks in a timely fashion. Most of the time we haven't been doing breaks because we try to get done in a decent time frame anyway. And then E stands for encouragement, and so we will always seek to encourage each other, to give support and praise contributions, and to be part of a solutions when needed, and to ask questions. So here's a place where in each of our lessons we'll ask you to think about and potentially share some of the things you do at home related to eating or physical activity. And it's up to you if you'd like to share. And so we're just gonna think about this for a minute. What is your favorite food or meal? And I'm gonna stop share and just kind of come back to us for a minute. Who's willing to share something that is their favorite?
I stir fry everything. So like stir fry vegetables and brown rice.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's quick and easy too, right? And yet so good for you. So thank you. Thank you, Maria. That's a good suggestion and a wonderful idea.
Me too. I like to stir fry, and then I also love to make stews with lots of veggies and potatoes and just a little meat on it. That way,
Mm-hmm.
it gets the flavor.
Nice. Yes. And this time of year, stew is so comforting too, right? Like it just fills you up and makes you feel nice and warm and fuzzy.
Yes.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Um, all right, so I'll go back to sharing my screen here. Um, making sure I can get back to where I was. Sometimes. All right. And then, so we eat for many reasons other than our body's need for nutrients or because we're hungry. Some of the reasons that we eat is cultural to us, maybe family traditions, religious beliefs. We've all had food experiences, some very different from one another. And one important thing to remember is that food plays many roles in our lives. And if we make smart choices, the foods we eat can help make us healthy and keep us healthy. So living a healthy lifestyle includes balancing the food we eat with the physical activity that we get. So during our Eating Smart being active sessions, we're gonna look at the latest scientific research about food, physical activity, and health, including recommendations from the Dietary Guidelines for Americans and the Physical Activity Guidelines for Americans. And we can use these guidelines to help ourselves plan healthy meals and snacks and be more physically active every day. By doing this, we can improve our health and reduce the risk of diseases, many of the chronic diseases like heart disease, diabetes, and cancer. And then many of the dietary guidelines have been put into the picture called My Plate that helps serve as a guide for making healthy food choices for ourselves and our families. And then we're going to meet several times. So this is our welcome to Eating Smart Being Active session. And then we're going to have a session on getting moving. We're going to look at planning, shopping, and saving. We're going to look at fruits and veggies and making them half your plate, making half your grains whole, go lean with protein, build strong bones, make a change, and then last but not least, we will celebrate our time together and our new Eating Smart and Being Active goals that we have set. What questions do you have? I'll stop sharing now for a second if there's any questions or concerns.
By being active, that means that if you walk your dog, I still have a puppy. We have to take him a lot of times in the day. That means like stay active, or it's just count as a part of your daily walking.
No, walking your dogs is a great, anything that you can do. And the research shows that we used to think that you had to do these long workouts and all of that, and really they found there's just as much benefit as these 10-minute little bursts of activities that we do. So anything that you can do and be consistent about and that you enjoy doing, it all adds up. And that's, walking your dog is and you know what, everybody's happy, right? Like the dog's happy and you're
That's
happy
right.
watching the dog being happy.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, that sounds good. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes after meal, after dinner, we all the family goes. We say, okay,
Yeah.
we need to walk a little bit because we need to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, wonderful. I'm glad to hear that you enjoyed doing that. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Um, so one of the things that helps us, we have the My Plate guide to help us, guide what we're doing for our meals. And one of the things that helps us develop our programs for participants is from the questionnaires and surveys that we ask. So um, I sent a link out for the survey, and I just wanted to kind of um, point out the first couple screens that you're going to come to, because the very first one that you come to is our welcome to our program screen, and it's also our informed consent. So we are committed to keeping your data safe, that you share, and your information is um, is kept confidential and is only seen by our staff who are part of our program that help deliver the programs. And it's used mostly as a tool for you and us to come together to find the goals that you need to set to meet your own needs. And then beyond that, it's also a way that our funders know that and give us credit for the work that we do, and also for developing and improving our program delivery. So I need to make this a little bit bigger for myself here. So I'm just going to read through this because I think that it's valuable for you to hear the words. A lot of times when we have these kinds of contract things or things that we are signing up for, we just kind of skim them over, and we don't always know what they say in their entirety. So um, I want to welcome you to the program. And during our time together, we may share information on keeping food safe and buying food and making healthy meals and being active. We also do some parenting skills in the feeding relationship and the advantages of breastfeeding. Those are all topics that we cover in a variety of different settings with different audiences. We hope that you can come to all of the sessions. You may benefit from learning new ways to eat healthy and be active. There's no risk to you when you attend our sessions. We will ask you to fill out a form with information about you and your family. You do not have to give us the information, and you can still participate. However, the information will help us meet your needs. We will ask you to fill out the form when you begin the sessions and when you end the sessions. You may receive feedback on how well you're eating compared to what is recommended. You will not receive any money for participating. What questions do you have so far?
I don't have any. I did a survey earlier, so I ended up reading the whole thing.
Okay. All right. And then only staff that work with the nutrition program will see the information on your forms. We'll keep the forms in a locked cabinet for 6 years, and we will destroy them. After that, we will put your information with information we collect from other people across the state. This will help us see if the sessions are helpful and how to make the sessions better. The combined information from all participants across the state will be used in research papers, but none of the personal information will be identified. If you have any questions before moving forward, please ask. If you have any questions later, you can call or write to either our local cooperative extension office or the Cornell University phone number listed there, or their website at fenacadmin@cornell.edu. You can receive a copy of this information via email, or if you prefer, it can be mailed to you. And then by selecting the arrow below, you understand the statements and agree to participate in the program, and we look forward to working with you. So this is what it will look like if you go to the link. When we actually fill this out, when we used to do in-person programs, we just signed the document and then move forward. And then the next slide that you will see, you will come to is you can have it in English or Spanish. If you see up in the right-hand corner here, if you would prefer working through it in Spanish, you can click it over to Spanish and it will do the rest of it all in Spanish for you. And when you do this, you're at the beginning of the series. So we've had some people filling them out and they say at the end, and we're just getting started. So it's been a little confusing for our data people. So I just wanted to point that out. And then here is the link, which I can also share right now. I'll copy and I'll paste it into, I'll stop share for a minute, and I'm going to paste that into the chat box. And that way there, if you would also like it here, you can always cut and paste it to save it later. And we can always send it out again as well. And then go back here, and then each week we will also do some sort of physical activity together as part of our time together. And then, you know, so you may want to wear something that's more comfy, or if it gets recorded and you want to watch it later and do it later, that's fine too. And so one of the things, you know, we might work through reaching. If you want to take a minute, just kind of reach for the sky and stretch. Yeah, that feels good. You can feel it pulling in the shoulders and down your back. And it gets difficult for me because the space I'm in, I'm kind of limited here. I can't stand up without having to move my computer. So I apologize that it's a little bit kind of cheesy way of doing things. And then some of the weeks we may do some cooking together, and at which point we will cover some knife safety and kitchen safety, and look at cutting boards, which is better. Some people are ask that question, and pretty much you can use any type of board that you like. It's just that cleaning them is a little bit different. You can put plastic, glass, and ceramic in the dishwasher, and it's not recommended to do that with the wooden ones for obvious reasons. They tend to lose their finish, and they get wet, and then they start rotting. So that it's easier to just wash them in between, and then sanitize with a little light, mild bleach solution. And then we'll usually share a recipe of some sort that hopefully we will be trying to share some recipes that will coincide with some of the foods that you're getting with your vegetable boxes. And then the directions are here. And so I think at this point, what I'll do is I'll stop my sharing, because I think that Maria had something to share with you all about radishes that you have all been getting. So I'll let her take it over.
So this is relevant for both people that are getting the boxes or for anyone that's just buying winter vegetables right now. I just wanted to share a couple of quick ideas about radishes and turnips because they're abundant at the moment. So right now, a lot of the winter vegetables that we're seeing are green. So that includes kale, lettuce, spinach. Someone mentioned bok choy, tatsoi, those types of greens. And then there's a lot of different winter squashes, root vegetables, which include beets, radishes, and turnips. And then Brussels sprouts and cabbages are also pretty readily available right now as well. So I wanted to quickly mention that roasting vegetables is a very easy option. And what I have found is that it can be done with pretty much any of the winter vegetables. So cabbage and Brussels sprouts, a lot of the greens, like if you were making kale chips, you could do it with that. But obviously like spinach and lettuce are more for salads or stir fries. But any of the other vegetables could be easily roasted, and that includes radishes and turnips. So I just put the directions on the screen. So basically chop your vegetables. You can put them on a baking sheet, lightly coated with olive oil, salt and pepper. And then some of the other recipes I found, you could include other spices based on your taste. So like thyme, oregano, things like that. And then you just bake them for 40 minutes. It also says here you can add other flavors such as lemon juice or vinegar, just to add a little bit different taste to them. So then another idea that I wanted to share is this grain bowl. And so here on this next slide are some of the different options that we would recommend. And I can send this slideshow or share with anyone that's interested. But so basically you have your grain. So that could be quinoa, rice, wild rice, buckwheat, bulgur, any type of grain that interests you. And then add your roasted vegetables. You could do steamed vegetables, raw produce. I've done one with quinoa and cucumbers and tomatoes with a little bit of olive oil and vinegar, salt and pepper, which is really good. And I also add feta cheese to mine. And then any of the pantry mix-ins. So basically whatever you have in your pantry, you can throw into your grain bowl as long as, you know, you're interested in doing. And so right now there's a ton of winter vegetables, and they are great additions to a grain bowl. And these can also be stored in the refrigerator for several days. So if you have leftovers, it can be something that you could eat throughout the week as well. So radishes, which is what everyone is getting right now. I like to eat them raw personally. I could eat them every day, but these are just a few ideas of what you could do with them in addition to eating them raw. So you can pickle them, add them to salads, you can roast them, grill them. I've seen a couple of different recipes where you add them to tacos, and then of course eating them raw. And so I did just add a couple of recipes that I found that I will share. So I put the link in the slideshow, but I can send the links to everyone after this. But a garlic roasted radish, which is basically what it sounds like, just roasted radishes with garlic and olive oil. I found a lemony salmon and chickpeas recipe that had radishes added to it. And so that was sort of similar to the grain bowl. It had the salmon and chickpeas and radishes and a little dressing added to it as well. And then again, any of those grain bowls you can add recipes to as well. And then turnips were not my favorite, but they can be used like you would use a potato. So you can bake them, boil them. I saw a couple of recipes that looked good that used turnips as mashed, like a mashed potatoes recipe. So I'll probably try that at some point in the future. I've also you can steam them, add butter, salt and lemon, and you can also roast them as well. And then again, I found a couple of recipes that looked good for turnips. So I found a curried turnip recipe, which was also a way to roast them. And there was a ton of different flavors, including curry powder. A slow roasted balsamic vinaigrette turnip recipe, which was done on the stovetop. And then I found a chicken noodle soup recipe that featured turnips in the broth and roasted turnips, of course, kind of going with this theme of roasting. So I just thought that might be helpful because I know that those are two vegetables that are kind of hard to find ways to use in creative, ways weekly if you're getting them. So wanted to share.